Peace, everybody. It's your brother, Mr. Holipsism. I'm here with my brother, Jabari, and we're here to have a discussion with our people on Sunday. And the topic of discussion is culture critics, in quotations, against nationhood.
Yep. Before we begin,
No, I'm going to get into that, but I just want to give them the description.
okay.
Let's discuss the hypocrisy of Black Power Americans and militant integrationists who are fans of truth tellers and people who expose the industry against the iniquity of the music targeted toward the Black community, yet push back against land, infrastructure, and nationhood as a solution to our collective problems. So you can get into the intro if you want.
Yes. So before we begin, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you think. Of course, sign up to our website at baioafrican.org/register. And if you can, please donate to the Liberian Leadership Academy, which is part of the BIO Liberia Legacy Foundation. We have a Leadership Academy class that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Just so you know, 100% of your money is going to helping these students. So please, if you can, please donate to us via Zephy, which is the main way to donate to us. But you can also donate to us through PayPal and Cash App through our great sister Ethel. So if you can, please donate and have as many people donate to us, because the more people that donate, that means the more people we can educate about Liberian history and more people can have their lives transformed. So if you can do that for us, that'll be greatly appreciated. And once again, thank you to all our subscribers. We have 2.3 subscribers. Let's see if we can get to 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. Let's keep it going. Keep sharing this content and let people know that we're out here. So with further ado, I will give you the intro, Hala.
Thank you. And I put the link in the chat room for those who want to donate. And oh, we always have to add this, Jabari. We've had more classes than Umar Johnson. We must add that. Let people know.
Yes, we have.
So I want to
Yes, we
bring
have.
in two people who's hello. What's up, Deontay?
What's up, man?
What's up, Inko?
What's up?
How's it going? All righty. So he's on mute. He must have some background noise. Uh,
Alrighty. How's
uh,
everybody doing today?
everybody's good.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Deontay, put yourself on mute for a second because I just want to give an intro to what the show is about.
Sure.
All righty. Basically, the inspiration behind this show was really the Cat Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. Every time I say Club Shay Shay, I just cringe. I just put out there that for the record. I hate even saying it. It makes me feel icky just saying it. Club Shay Shay. Anyway, I've been involved in this culture conscious game for over 30 years. So a lot of what people consider is groundbreaking and earth shattering is stuff that I've already been through, and we've already been through that chamber already. It's just the people who were basically born in the 2000s didn't really know that much about it. So now it's coming across as being brand new. And so I'm looking at the Club Shay Shay interview. Club Shay Shay. Anyway. Last time I had checked, I'm not going to check it now. It's probably more. But the last time I had checked, that interview had 61 million views. I'm hearing people going, "Oh, we got to protect Cat Williams at all costs," and da 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 da, and they like, "Oh yeah, he telling the truth. He exposing the industry." Da da yada 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 yada. And to be honest with you, it really, really annoys me to a level that I can't even comprehend. Because when you're out here trying to do things that are practical show people relevant information, try to keep people to be a part of or a movement of something that's really positive and productive and a solution to our collective problems. And we seem to be more fascinated with conspiracy theories and nonsense. When we kick conspiracy theories and nonsense, it seems like we get all the interaction in the world when we do that. But when we try to kick anything involving practical knowledge, hands-on things that we can do every day, that people can be a part of and be involved in, whether actively, meaning that you're actually a part of what we're doing, or passively, where you just support it financially. Either way, people would rather engage in conspiracy theories, rather engage in just knowing about this evil secret group that everybody knows about called the Illuminati. It's so funny that's got to be the lousiest secret organization ever when the average person knows about it. But people would rather engage at that than they would with land, infrastructure, and nationhood, having a government, controlling policy, building infrastructure, having airports and seaports, gas, electricity, geothermal, tidal, how to build how to have new construction when it comes to buildings. These are the things that we want to deal with, but nobody wants to deal with that because that's not sexy. It's a lot more sexier to talk about blood sacrifices and Illuminati rituals and basically dumb shit. And my position is that the people who want to engage in that stuff, they're not really fighting the system. They're not really against anything. They just want to spit their hot 16 so people can know how intelligent they are because they can spout off some nonsense, some irrelevant information that is not practical or useful in a current context. But it makes them look smart because they use a bunch of big words. These people don't give a shit about the progress of our people. They do not have a vision for the future for our people. What they want to do is it's more important for them to show everybody how brilliant they are and how much books they read, how much knowledge they possess, even though the knowledge is not even any practical knowledge that we could use effectively to help us in our current situation. These people have no idea what a nation is, even though they live in one. No idea how government works. No idea what policy is, what an economy is. No idea, no clue. But they can tell you all the shit that you want to know about Turtle Island. They can tell you about Bohemian Grove. They can tell you about the planet Ritz. They can tell you all this conspiracy theory nonsense. They can tell you about what the Anunnaki and the rest of this nonsense. They can tell you all of that. But for some reason, they can't build one dirt road anywhere on the planet Earth and control it. So on that note, let me let everybody in so I can get some more opinions on this. Unmute yourself if you can.
I mean, what I would say, they don't know how to define an economy. They don't know what a system is. They don't know what a political machine means. They don't understand the basics of what it takes to run a society. And I just say the reason why they do
Jabari, you went out.
problem than it is for me to
Hello?
actually govern. Because once I govern, once I'm putting stuff into motion, I'm going to be held accountable. People are going to be able to measure whether or not I've succeeded or failed. Blaming black folks and telling people how, we're facing white supremacy is not going to be an issue because you're not being measured. You're not being, evaluated. People are like, yeah, he's just speaking what we already know, but there's no accountability being held.
Yeah. Vector says, I'd argue that the USA isn't even a nation in the same way that the BIO thinks of nationhood. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. No argument for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Like
it's
for for example, I'm a person who I love me some reading, but I have a major love and obsession over space and asteroid mining. Well, guess what? That requires government funding. That requires government spending. But the United States government is not doing it. Well, then guess what? I'm going to be out of luck. Because unless I have government funding or a government that's going to back subsidize what I'm doing, I can't do a project like that. Most companies can't do a project like that. It takes government money and government resources to do that. All of these stuff, like look at what big tech is doing with a TikTok ban, right? You have a Chinese company that was able to produce a better product in America.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. A better product in America. And now they're trying to ban it. Why? Big tech companies are lobbying. They're lobbying the government. Why? Because government can decide what can be used in a country. You call Facebook Fedbook, but you ain't got a government that says, hey, look, oh, since we know it's Fedbook, we're not going to allow that to be here. You don't have that. So you're complaining about how this is controlled by the government, yet you living here. You living here, you doing all this stuff, but yet you gonna call it Facebook Fedbook? Like, come on, y'all ain't serious.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that because these same people saying Fedbook, we have a website that's free and they won't sign up to it.
Uh-huh.
Rather get on Fedbook and cry that it's the feds is on. So why are you still on it? Why haven't you gone to a forum that we control where you can be around people that supposedly think the same way you do? You know why? Because you don't think the same way that we do.
Uh-huh.
You're a militant integrationist. You're a Black Power American. And my thing is, get rid of the Black Power and just be an American.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yep. Ain't
I'm
no
getting
lies
so
being
tired.
told.
I am bored to tears about this blood sacrifice Illuminati ritual nonsense. I'll give you an example of it. John Cena did a bit at the Oscars where he got on stage naked. And it was only covered by, the envelope and whatever. And people said, see what the Illuminati made him do in order for him to get. I'm like, nigga, John Cena been a multimillionaire before he even got into Hollywood.
He was in WWE.
Nobody's making him do anything. And if you know John Cena, that's well within his wheelhouse.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen the Suicide Squad? Have you seen Peacemaker? This guy is constantly walking around in his underwear.
Mm-hmm.
But we are so fascinated by this BS.
Mm-hmm. It's
It just
disturbing.
annoys the hell out of me, man.
It's very disturbing in my opinion because again, it's like you said, y'all want to scream about the problem, but y'all don't want a solution. And y'all think y'all sound conscious when y'all just sound irrational. You sound illogical. It's like why whenever I talk about medicine, right? I keep telling black folks, I'm like, okay, y'all mad that that you don't trust these medicines and that, but you're not producing the medicines. You're not building up research labs and getting black people degrees in bioengineering and biology and chemistry. You're not actually building up the infrastructure to build up your own vaccines that are high quality, that are safe and really pioneer. You're just mad about why we shouldn't take it because they're quote unquote evil. Well, it's like, listen, you can't boycott something with a nothing. If you're going to boycott something, you have to have an alternative. You have to give people another alternative medicine that is safe, sound, that's had trials, that's been produced by scientists, that's been put in scientific publications. peer reviewed, all of that has to be in for us to then take your alternative. If you're not doing that, you're not to be taken serious. I'm sorry, you're just not.
Yeah. Instead of that, what are we talking about? We talking about the Anunnaki, and we talking about whether aliens built the pyramids or humans. Wow, all things that we can definitely use in this day and time.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a shit? This is not
Yeah.
important. It's not important. And the fact that people look at this stuff like it's important is the real irritating part to me, because it makes me want to throw in the towel. It really does.
No, it does. Like there's some days where I'm just like, man, I just need to focus on me, make my money, be successful, and just not really care about because it's like, bro, it's like, why are y'all fascinated on stuff that number one doesn't matter, but number two, it just doesn't add up.
Because it's more entertaining and more engaging for people to engage in these conversations and spit they hot 16 bars. I think that's the real reason. Because when I just like that little conversation that we had on, was it TikTok?
Yep.
Yeah, that little conversation we had on TikTok. None of these guys were on there in good faith.
Yep.
All they wanted to do was just show, oh, I know about this and that and that.
Make themselves seem like they have access to some information that most black folks don't have when it's just pseudoscience. I mean, you have folks on here telling us that the United States is Morocco. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, brother, here we go. Here we go with that.
Probably the most brain dead take of the whole thing was, I always make the point when I talk to these pretendians, how is it possible that you were indigenous to this land, yet a foreigner came in and made you forget your native tongue?
And then taught it back. And then it has to teach it back.
That's been my position. And this is what the answer was to that question. They said, oh, well, they came in and they made us speak English, and they also wanted to learn our native language so that eventually later on down the line, they taught it back to us. That's actually an answer that they gave.
So with that answer, allow me to again ask the question of, if that's true, then why is it that even after the colonization of Africa from Britain, from France, from Germany, just about every nation we could think of, why is the number one language in Africa spoken today Swahili? Why is it that the Hausa population have 75 million people and they still speak their native tongue along with Arabic, if what they're saying is true? How does somebody make you forget your native tongue?
Unless you were mixed up, broken up, families broken up, like there's no way.
Now let me give
And a
you
lot
a
of that
scenario.
happened, and a lot of that happened to those African people. A lot of that, and they still speak their native tongue.
Let me give you a scenario in which you would lose your language. If I take you from one side of the world over to another side of the world, and I put you in a population where you're the minority, and you have to assimilate into that culture, then I can totally understand you losing your language. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What sense does it make? Because think about this. If you're indigenous to your land and a foreigner comes in and, let's say, invades and takes over your land, they may teach you their language in terms of business and in terms of interacting with them, but don't you still have to go home? Don't you still have to be amongst your family and your people and raise your children? What are they knocking the door down to make sure you're not teaching or speaking your own native tongue? How insane
And then you also
do
have
you
to
have
factor
to be? How insane do you have to be to endorse that philosophy?
and also, since you're indigenous to this territory, you know the terrain. You know how to escape. You know how places that they may not know because you're indigenous to the land. You know the land better than they do.
And how about this? How is it that the fake Indians, as you call them, know your language, your indigenous language and native tongue better than you do? How come they were able to retain that culture, but you weren't? Explain that one to me.
In addition to that, good afternoon, guys.
Hey,
In addition to that, where is the historical, any type of historical artifact, writing, teaching, anything that can prove this? There is absolutely no way that people could come from a different continent, completely wipe out your culture, language, any trace that you ever existed. But these fake Indians, as they call them, they have all of their historical records intact. They have
Hmm.
drawings, they have the culture, they have the language, but yours is completely wiped out, and you don't even have any type of historical familial remembrance of who you used to be. That's absolute. That's not how any of this works.
it's impossible. And I always use that example of that movie Prey that came out, which was one of
Mhm.
the Predator series.
Mhm.
They had one of the versions of the film in Comanche. How come these Negroes didn't listen to that and understand what they were saying? That's your native tongue, right? Or is that the fake Indians?
But when we go over to the continent, we see so many similarities in the people there, the way we look, our mannerisms, our even still our culture. We still hold on to the culture in different, aspects that they do on the continent. So we were completely removed from there. We were completely stripped of our identity, our culture, our language, our everything. But our DNA, it still makes us part of those people.
Hmm.
How is that possible? Y'all have absolutely no ties to the native people, the indigenous people of the Americas. Nothing. Not even DNA.
Yeah,
And
the
there's so
average
many ways
African
for them to get
American.
around that.
Yeah.
You notice that they get
Hmm.
around that by just saying, "Well, the DNA tests aren't real."
That
Interesting.
just if I
Interesting
could
how that
if
works.
DNA can tell me who my parent is, I'm sure if these people needed to find out who their baby daddy was or their baby mama was, that they would take that DNA test as valid and
Oh
fact.
yeah, yeah. Then it's
So they
valid.
don't have to pay that child support. But it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for historical evidence to prove whether or not you are part of an actual group of people.
Right.
I need them to stop with the foolishness. Nothing that they say makes sense. Like none of it.
And
I
actually,
mean,
the
and
same
that's the
tech.
problem.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
and yeah, and the same technology that they're using to they used to create these DNA tests that I'm learning or have learned a couple of years ago is the same kind of technology they used to catch rapists. Like it's a DNA test.
Exactly.
They're
That's what
telling
I'm
you who the
saying.
parents are.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
like mine's work.
You can't use it for, you know, things that are helpful, and then when it's for your made up, you know, your made up notions or your made up thought process, that it's not valid. We don't listen to that.
Um,
It's science. It's actual science. It has nothing to do with the powers that be or the government or anything like that. Science is science.
I'm gonna bring up this point. Those indigenous people sound the so-called black indigenous people sound no different than the Israeli population in Israel right now. Where
Well,
in Israel it's illegal to do DNA tests. Why? What's wrong with doing a DNA test? If you say you're from that region, take a DNA test.
I'm going to
Prove to
tell you
us that you're from
I'm going to
that
tell
region.
you why. I'm going to tell you why they did that. Because the Arab people took their DNA and they can prove that they are not indigenous to anywhere in the Middle East. that they only have European DNA. That's why it's illegal, because the Arab nations did this entire study without them even knowing about it, and they told who the true people that they're supposed to be. They black people. The Arab people are actually saying this. So that's why that's illegal in Israel. And how you make DNA testing illegal? Like that,
Well, you
you
just
know what
explained
you
that.
know what they hide in. I mean, it's
They prove it again that they're not indigenous to that region.
exactly,
You wouldn't
exactly.
do because if y'all were indigenous to that region, y'all would be quick to show it. If these Indian Nefertitians could prove that they were indigenous to America, man, we would be seeing DNA tests being flashed left and right. We couldn't scroll up 1 second without tests being shown.
I'm sure they did their 23 and me's and they ancestries and all of those things, and it came back they was 78% from the
Africa,
continent, and they
yeah.
probably threw up. Oh my God, if somebody ever get their hands on this.
I
Oh
did
no, they're
I did
90% African. They're 90% African.
Weirdos.
I
They
did
losing it.
I did a report back in school when I was going to school about the pyramids.
Hmm.
And just seeing how they treat those ancient artifacts shows me that you had nothing to do with it.
None whatsoever.
Nothing to do with it. I remember the pyramids used to have a coat of limestone over it. It was
Hmm.
smooth
Yep.
and a gold cap at the top. And
Yep.
these barbarians chipped off all the limestone off the pyramid. That's why the way it looks the way that it does now,
Yep.
and used it
And
to build their mosque.
some of them had diamonds at the top of them, and that's what they used for their lighting. It wasn't just the open area up there. They had different stones up there, and that's what they
Yeah,
used for the
they're
lighting.
barbaric people. They
So
destroy everything they
they
touch.
So
pillaged. They just took everything
Destroy
of
everything they
value that
touch.
they saw, and they used it for their own good. But the thing of it is that black people.
But honestly, these interactions we keep having with these people don't even need to happen as long as they stayed on their side of
Thank
the
you.
fence and huddled up in
My
their
point
teepees and
exactly.
decided what they were going to do.
Be do if you
Actually,
are
And also,
indigenous,
we're over here.
if
I'm
you
about to
are
say,
indigenous,
there you
you
go.
lost. That's it. That's why you lost. That's it. And just accept defeat, brother. That's it.
But he said he not your brother. He said he come from Turtle Island.
What was you saying, Salima?
I said I was just agreeing with Deontay. Like if you are indigenous to the Americas, stay here. Do what you have to do to confirm and solidify that fact. Whatever you have to do, do it. But I don't understand why that your choice should make you so angry and contentious to the people who are from Africa and they want to return back to Africa. I don't understand that. I don't understand why, because I don't care what you do. As an
You know,
adult, you have the right to feel, think, and be who you want to be, you know? And like I said the other day, yesterday, we live in a time and an age when you can say I am this gender. So who the heck has the right to tell you where you come from? Nobody.
I'm always of the belief, and I think that everybody in the BIO is how to take lemons and make lemonade.
Mhm.
I'm going to get into the hot comb business. I'm going to get a direct trade
Keratin,
from
no,
Liberia to
not
America, and I'm
not
going to
hot
control
combs.
the hot comb industry.
Bro, don't do hot combs. Make the best keratin treatment in the world because keratin lasts longer and is less harsh on the hair. So they'll keep their hair and it'll be bone straight for a long, long time. Because with a
Okay.
hot comb, once they wash it, it's gonna revert back to the curly kinky. But with keratin, it's gonna stay straight for a long time. That's what you do.
See, that's why you're my sister.
I know, I got your back always.
There you go. So we're going to get involved in that industry and supply these Negroes with that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you could be up there with your hair straight in the lotus position and your TP, smoking your peace pipe,
They live in
and being at
houses.
one with the universe.
They live in houses. The fake Indians lived in teepees. Remember that.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Remember that.
Did those houses have Netflix?
She said they lived in houses. I said,
Did they have
what?
fiber optic cables
They
back
don't
then?
most, and I'm not trying to be mean or funny or disrespectful. Most of them don't live in houses now. So it's just the
Yeah, but those are
whole
the fake Indians.
mm. And where the real Indians live.
The real
I just
Indians
need to
live in
know.
Brownsville,
Right, exactly. They live in
Bed-Stuy.
they live in a tenement in Brooklyn.
They don't have no stake in the casino or nothing.
And they work at McDonald's because why all of them, none of them have like real good jobs. Like I don't like, is that, what's the reason for that?
At this, I'm gonna guess pale face is the reason.
Okay.
That's my
Okay.
guess.
Mm.
Because pale face will not allow it.
So is White Daddy and Sky Daddy, do they even believe in Sky Daddy? I really don't know much about
Yeah,
them.
they do.
Okay, yeah,
You'd
that
be
makes
surprised.
sense.
Like a lot of
It makes
people
sense.
say that they don't like Christians, but they use a lot of Christian ideology.
It makes sense.
Like people say, well, Jesus wasn't real, but they believe in Willie Lynch. It's like they just mad that you don't worship the same, myths that they do.
Wow.
What's up, Vector? You there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm just talking with my wife. I'll jump in a
Okay.
second. Yeah.
No problem. Yo, what's up, Baruti? How you doing? What's up, Michael? What's up, Ollie? Yeah. But we must protect Cat Williams at all cost. We must. Because who else is going to tell us about the Anunnaki? Who else is going to tell us about the blood sacrifice and the Illuminati rituals? Who's going to let us know this pertinent information if they get rid of this guy? We're going to talk about people in the industry putting on dresses because that's really important. And I'm sitting here thinking, in the past month, how many black men have I seen in dresses outside? I'm going to say 0.
0.
None.
But yet that's apparently an urgent and pressing thing in the community right now. The effemination of the black man. No, it's the effemination of that dude. Whoever got the dress on. What that got to do with me? These people act like everything is The Walking Dead. Don't let the guy with the dress scratch you, because once he does it, you're going to start wearing dresses too.
I just don't understand. But this is my thing. If the man wants to wear a dress, that is his prerogative to wear a dress. For whatever reason he wants to wear this dress. I mean, you have free will. Do it.
Oh, and Selena,
Does
here's the
that?
hypocrisy. You tell me if this is if it's just me bugging or if this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we all used to watch Martin?
Yeah.
And Martin used to play a character called Shanae.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody have a problem with it? No, they were laughing their asses off.
They said, but they're saying that was part of his he had to do that in order to progress in
Right. They're
the
saying that now.
yeah.
Now they're saying it after the fact. But when the
But this
show was on, they were laughing their asses off. When Jamie Foxx was playing
mm-hmm.
Wanda, they were
Mm-hmm.
laughing their asses off. There's some guys on YouTube who play women characters and they laugh. Oh, huh,
Sure
that's so
do.
funny. So why all of a sudden you see Kevin Hart on an SNL skit in a dress, and now, oh, you see, it's a sacrifice. This is the ritual that he has to do to get his riches. Really, nigga? Men dressing as women has been in comedy since comedy fucking began.
I mean, and
And
to be
both
honest
black
with
men,
you,
white men, everybody been doing it.
and it's because women wasn't acting and things like that when the entertainment business really started. There were no women acting, so the men acted like women. They dressed like women.
Remember Benny
Um.
Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Benny Hill used to do it.
So it is, to me, that's such a small, insignificant
Right.
thing to even think about when we're thinking about the fact that they're killing us. Like they're literally killing us in every shape, form, and fashion you could think of and getting away with it. They are mistreating our children. I watched a video of a girl from South Carolina, 17-year-old honor student who is scheduled to enlist in some military faction. Like she's everything, her life is like was fully set after high school. She says she walks into an area of the school and there are these girls fighting. She tries to break up the fight because there's no supervision around and somebody attacks her. So she defends herself. She's the only senior that is involved in this. So they kick her out of school. So
Mm,
now this little girl is 2 months away. She's been out of school for 2 months. They won't let her take any of the classes that she needs to graduate. And in their minds, this is a way to rectify or to discipline somebody that was trying to do their job.
mm.
So this girl is on TV now crying, begging so that she can continue on with her education and her life after school is over. And we worrying about whether or not some man had on a skirt.
Yeah.
We not rallying behind this little sister that's begging for her life, literally.
And
She
you know
worked
what?
all this time to be the best student she could be so she could secure her livelihood when she becomes an adult. And the adults are now mistreating her, and we talking about some man with a skirt on. That's what we worried about. We worried about who's a real Indian and who's not. If you are indigenous to this land, either way. And the thing that really really burns me is the fact that you could look at me and say to me with your dark skinned self that we not brother and sister, and you don't care nothing about me because I say I'm from Africa and you say that you're indigenous to the Americas. And you could look at that little black girl and say, I'm not helping her because she not my sister because she African.
Yeah.
Those are the
And
people
I
I don't want to be around. Let's just stay away from them. And when I say let's not engage with them anymore, when they start coming in, block them. They don't exist.
yeah, I agree. I'm
Because
sorry. I'm sorry I'm jumping on you, but it's like I can't see your mouth, so it's like double dutch. I'm trying to figure out when to jump in.
okay, no, go ahead. I'm good.
Yeah. Um, but basically, um, I agree with you. I'm saying that this is really no conflict, and you stated this yesterday when we were on the after the conversation, and I agree. We are African. We're on the Africa team.
Hmm.
You're on the Native American team, the indigenous this American team, whatever you want to call it. Why are we even talking to each other?
What does ADO stand for?
American descendants of slavery.
Okay.
Not even African. It's American because they don't.
American descendants of slavery.
Right. It makes absolutely no sense to name.
Wait, so so I'm because I'm just like, so you they came to your Why didn't they enslave Africans on the continent of Africa?
They who?
The Europeans. Why did they have to take them from Africa in order to enslave them?
That's a
Why
rhetorical
didn't they
question.
why didn't no, I'm saying why didn't they enslave them, take their natural, because it was, they needed resources from the continent of Africa, human resources and natural resources. So they use their guns to control and to manipulate the African people into helping them take their resources, right? So that was done by force on the continent of Africa. But then they took Africans and brought them over to, Europe, the Americas, the West, and enslaved them. So my question is, why didn't they enslave Africans on the continent of Africa? You want to know why? I'm going to answer the question. Because the Africans, even though they did not have the resources, you know, military resources, they didn't have guns, they didn't have gunpowder, they didn't have those things that they were trading with them for our actual lives. They knew that the Africans knew that terrain way too well for them to actually enslave them there. Okay? So they had to take them out of it. They had to remove them from the continent of Africa. They had to strip them down. That's why they kept them naked, to dehumanize them, to remove all, make them shameful of themselves. And then because it's mental and it's psychological warfare is what they did. And then they brought them to these different countries and or continents, and they beat them, starved them, raped them, uh, did everything that they could do to them to break them down to where they would submit to them completely and totally, right? So you mean to tell me that these people came here to your own land, stole the land from you, murdered probably more than half of your population, and took every bit of what you are away from you on your land? How is that possible?
Yeah, they went into your house and prevented you from talking to your family.
How is that even possible?
It's not.
There was apartheid. There was military force on the continent of Africa, but all of those people still have their culture, their language. They have everything that they started with, other than their natural resources and some of their people. They have everything else. So why is it that these supposed, and they're calling themselves Indian, even though Christopher Columbus was dumb as fiddlesticks because he was in the wrong place. He thought he was going to India, so he called the people that he saw here Indians, and y'all still calling yourselves Indians. It don't matter who fake or not. That's not even y'all name.
Well,
And y'all so stupid.
the fake ones are calling themselves by their tribe, right?
Right,
That's what the fake ones are doing.
right. That's like, let's think about Australia. Let's think about Australia, because that's perfect. This is a Australia. Those indigenous people to Australia, they still have their language, their culture. They till this day they're still fighting for the white people to stop indoctrinating their children, to stop doing all the things that these people said that they did here on the continent of North America to them. But they still, and the white people are in power, but they still know exactly who they are. So how is it possible that y'all not like the Aboriginals in Australia? How is that possible?
And I raised the
Well,
point.
it's possible because the Native Americans are that. Sorry, I was just jumping in, but
No,
I wanted
exactly.
to, yeah, I wanted to double down on your point too. It's funny when you said
Exactly.
that when you were saying that why weren't the white people able to control the slavery on the African continent? And when the truth is, one of the reasons they brought us from the African continent is because they couldn't do exactly that to the Native Americans. They tried to enslave the Native Americans, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So
So they had to bring
for all of the
somebody that
reasons you mentioned.
exactly they had to bring somebody that didn't know the terrain. It was cold here. They were nasty. You all the things that caused them and they are not built. They were not, even though they came from nasty European countries, where it was cold and nasty, they still couldn't live on in America by themselves. They still couldn't. They couldn't. The terrain was too rough. The indigenous people here were picking them off left and right. So there's absolutely no way that what they're saying is true. There's nowhere in history that has ever happened. There is no way that you can go to somebody else's land. That's like somebody coming into my house and saying, I live here now. And then when I leave to go to work and I come back the next day and I'm like, damn, where I live at? Just because they said you don't live here no more. Damn,
And you
what the
forgot the
fuck?
language that you spoke
I
too.
forgot the language.
But
And
now you're speaking like them.
when I came back in, now they got to teach me how to speak my language. No, it don't work like that. None of that makes sense.
Oh Lord, these people, man.
None of that makes sense. So what we have to stop doing is engaging with them. Like we just got to ignore them. They do not matter to us.
What about the point that I had made that why are they calling black folks who's been in Liberia for 170 years, why is there still a miracle in front of them? But
And
yet,
who
but
who
yet they tell us, I'm using their same philosophy when it comes to
mhm,
black folks in America. We're not African.
exactly.
So which one is
Exactly.
it?
That's what
Because
I told you.
according to their philosophy, those people should be Liberian. Just Liberian. Take the America. They ain't been in America for 170 years. Why you still call them Americo Liberians? They've had children, grandchildren, all of these generations of people right there on the African continent. Yet they're still referred to as Americo Liberians.
because they don't understand that what they're saying doesn't make sense. Any of it. And they only make these grandiose statements when it applies to, it supports their what they are their agenda is. And like I said, we just have to stop engaging in them. We have way too many things that we have to take care of, and
Well,
it's
are
just
you asking that?
ridiculous.
Are you asking that rhetorically, or do you want an actual answer?
It's
Well,
definitely
it's rhetorical,
rhetorical.
but I don't
It's
mind
Okay.
giving
definitely
an answer.
rhetorical.
Oh, well, I mean, the actual
And
answer is
they can
the
never
actual
answer that question.
well, the actual answer is they like to conflate the difference between uh, nationalism and tribalism, right? So, Amerigo Liberian is a mixture of the tribe and the nation, right? So it's just like if you're in East Africa, just because somebody's Ethiopian, some will say they're Habesha, some will say they're Oromo, et cetera, et cetera. So, but they're all Ethiopian.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Yep.
mean the Americo Liberian is Liberian, but the Amerigo, I guess they consider us, the mixture of the descendants of slaves. So that's our tribe, quote unquote. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that
can
that that
understand in the
would be the
beginning.
that would be the educated answer, but we know that's not what people really mean when they're trying to
Yeah.
when they're trying to split those
I
hairs.
mean, I totally get it in the beginning, but 170 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's tribe, right? Tribes are timeless.
How convenient. That's why, like John Henry Clark used to always talk about that. We don't have a nationality.
Well, I mean, look at white people, right? Here in the United States, look at white people. You still have people that still call themselves Italian Americans, Irish Americans, and them motherfuckers ain't been over there in generations.
Right.
So same thing.
What's Baruti say? Salim, if you're referencing an ADOS as proponents of American indigenous, they aren't exposing that. The pretendians are doing that. ADOS identifies black, not African politically. Wait a minute. Hold on.
What?
Is he
What's
saying
that?
that ADOS doesn't identify with pretendians?
Burundi's a lot smarter than
Now I'm
that,
even
so I
more
think he's
confused. So they're saying that they're
well.
not indigenous to this land. So then what the fuck are they?
They're a unique, independent, rare new class of people from the way that it was explained to me. That's what I was told to go
So they
by.
sprouted
To
up
go
out of the
by.
ground.
No, I
That's what
think
they're saying.
I don't think you can be. Can you say I'm ADOS and indigenous at the same time? I mean, if you recognize slavery, then how can you say you're indigenous to the land? That doesn't even make sense.
Right. But then, all right, you're not indigenous, but you're also not African. So then where the fuck did you come from?
They came from the aliens, the space aliens brought them here. Apparently, I don't know.
ADOS identifies
All
as
this they're
black.
doing.
What the fuck? I didn't know that because I
That
thought the
statement is
ADOS
confusing. Yeah.
was saying that they were indigenous to America.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
I
no.
always thought.
I don't think they say that.
So now that makes their identity really confusing because they don't want to. Am I wrong in saying that they don't want to identify with Africa?
I think you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make up a wild theory, but it wouldn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If ADOS can say we're indigenous to the United States, technically that could be true since the United States wasn't created until sometime after slavery.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Wait.
I mean, now this is
What you're
just me throwing some shit out there. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Like,
let's. I mean, if technically you're absolutely correct because we were here on this land before the United States was actually created. You are
right.
absolutely correct. So technically, we're indigenous to the United States. You are
Okay.
absolutely right. So
Okay.
these are the people who
Now,
are
hold
like,
on. Now, I'm not saying that that's what the ADOS people are saying. I just completely pulled that out of my ass. Like, I just made
We're
that
gonna
up
go with it
literally
now.
60
Now
seconds
we
ago.
going with that. No, we going with that because let's put it this way. So these are the people that are my ancestors, blood, sweat, and tears built this country. Are those people?
I
Because
believe
then,
so.
Um,
Yes.
because then that would make sense.
I don't know, man. It sounds
I,
like they sorry to interrupt you, Selena. I think at this point they're gonna be the new transgender movement, confusing
I
everybody with like new
told you.
pronouns and shit.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be headed in that direction.
That's and the guy got upset yesterday because that was my analogy for them. So,
Well,
I mean,
I would disagree. I would just simply disagree by the for the sake that people who are transgender don't deny that they're African, so they're above them. They at least acknowledge that they come from
Yeah,
Africa.
you know what I mean, right, Jabari? It's like
it's
Yeah,
the
they at
concept.
least
the
It's the
ultra
acknowledge that.
concept of
liberal
it all.
types, like the college campus types. This is what this ADOS thing is looking like, because it's like I'm black, like we're all black here, we're all confused just as much as white people would be. Like I don't get it. Like, what is it? Like, sometimes I hear ADOS people talking about they're Native Americans, like as if they're native to America or something. Like, I'm like, wait, so you're Indian? Like, no, we're black. I'm like, okay.
So here's the thing.
Well,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's a picture of my great grand, whatever he was, Cherokee Indian chief. We know that that's he was that. He had the head scar, I mean the head stuff, and his multiple wives standing behind him and his children in front of him. We had, somebody in my family has that picture. I remember seeing that picture as a child. And the man was a dark skinned man. He wasn't red like they, perceive Indian people as, or Native American as today. So there were some dark skinned people native to this land that were here, you know, before slavery, before colonization, and whatever else you want to call it. So that is a fact. But um that ain't them.
Well,
And the only reason what I'm
I'm gonna
saying is
follow.
in reference to being a Native American, Indian, whatever you want to call it, there should be some type of historical proof that that is who you are. You understand what I'm saying? So, and when I say these things, I'm saying it because that's my history, you know. But so I could go either way, but I'm not.
Salima, look on the screen.
Yeah, I'm reading this. Okay, Ados believes Africans were brought to, I guess, the Western Hemisphere, but that today geopolitically they're not African but are culturally black. Ados believes that slavery leverages reparations.
So basically, they were created in America,
That's not
and
totally wrong.
their history starts in America. So
And
nothing
that's
prior
What
to that.
ADOS? Because I've been keeping track of ADOS since 2016. I remember I used to watch Breaking Brown when Yvette Carnell used to be working with Boyce Watkins. She
Yeah.
originally said American DOS. It wasn't ADOS. It was American DOS, and then it was DOS, Descendants of American Slaves, and then it was American Descendants of Slaves. It was American and then DOS, and then oh, they changed it to ADOS, and that's how it became ADOS. Basically, their whole premise is, oh, well, we should get reparations. We're owed reparations. We built this country, and that we have a justice claim. And they believe that the justice claim is, listen, we are Americans, and we are Americans that come from chattel slavery, and that America needs to give us reparations.
But
That should
Jabari,
include Black
here's the
immigrants.
thing.
Jabari, let
Here's
me
the
ask you.
thing.
You might not even be able to answer this question, but I gotta ask it.
Hmm.
How do you say you were a part of chattel slavery and disconnect yourself from Africa?
You can't, but they believe that they start with 1619 and they just forget about everything that happened prior, or how we got here in the first place. Or they like
So
to say once we got here that those chains were severed, our connection to Africa was severed, is what they would
so
say.
so and then they want reparations.
Yeah.
So how come they still get back to my original question? Why are they still calling them Americo Liberians? Why not use the same philosophy when it comes to that?
I
Guess,
don't know.
but this is the thing. This is the thing. If you know anything about reparations, they'll never get reparations
Right.
because
And I was just
Yeah.
they're saying that there are American descendants of slavery. You can't get reparations from the country that you are claiming
yes,
because
yes, yes,
reparations goes from country to country, nation to nation, repair a nation. That's
yes.
what
Right.
reparations
So if
means.
and that's
So
exact. Yep,
Hmm.
yep, yep. Go ahead.
Or
absolutely
you
Go ahead.
have
not.
to have, a nation that advocates for you to
No,
pressure
no,
domestically.
no, no. I can't go and say that Mexico wronged me as a Mexican citizen, as somebody who is a citizen of Mexico. The government of Mexico has
Yep.
destroyed my village and they raped and pillaged all the women and children on my land, and then go to the Mexican government and say, I want reparations for that.
Yep.
Sure, you can get paid from the government for that, but that would not be reparations. So they nothing that they're saying, everything that they're saying is a contradiction to the other thing that they're saying. Nothing that they're saying makes any sense. That is exactly why they allow them to continue to be who they are, because they know that they are bumbling idiots, and nothing that they ever say is going to come to fruition at all ever.
Yeah, I mean,
So
sister,
again,
sister is
we
hitting it
keep
on the
we
head.
keep having these conversations with these
Hmm.
people, and
ADOS
when you
has
have a
a
conversation,
ADOS have a history of
conversation,
working with right wing media.
when you have a
Wh-
conversation with idiot, nobody knows which one is the actual idiot. We got to stop having these conversations with them. They don't even know what they're talking about. They heard somebody speaking loud, and then they latched on to the little bit that they could remember or that they read, and then they just spew it back out. That's what they do. So we sound like the idiots continuing to engage with the idiots.
It's no different than when you study how a lot of the so-called Jews claim to be Germans, right? And then they got actually frowned upon by the Zionists because they said, hey, you're not going to get reparations from Germany for World War II if you still claiming you German, motherfucker. Like,
So
you got
this is
you got to say you're a Jew.
the thing with the Jews. The Jewish people, they they have finessed the system so well that I don't even know. I mean, the only way that we're going to be able to do anything, like, I don't know what's going to happen with the Jews. I'm going to be completely honest. But I know my sister had a client when she was doing home health aid, and the client was, her mom was my niece's patient, my sister's patient. And the woman said to her one day, "You know, my mother's not even Jewish, right?" And she said, "What are you talking about? They live in a Jewish building in Manhattan, and they get checks every month, her and her daughter." And this woman was well into her 60s or 70s, and the mother was like 90 something. She said, "Yeah, she said, most of the people in this building, we weren't even, our ancestors weren't even in the Holocaust.
Hmm.
We just said that we were, and we get the money, we get the benefits of it."
Does those checks come
So,
from the U.S. government?
yes, the
Ah,
U.S. is
wow.
still paying. They're still paying for the Holocaust, and
Oh, I know they're paying. I didn't know that they were actually giving
oh,
Jews
absolutely,
on U.S. soil money. That's crazy.
absolutely, absolutely,
That's wild.
absolutely. And they're over there,
I mean, the New York
and
government
they're over
said,
there pretending to be the children of the chosen people of God while murdering women and children.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go figure.
starving
Wow.
people, starving people, starving children to death.
And and white people say they're the chosen, they're the children of God. They are the chosen children of God. So what they're doing is okay. I, a
Well,
white
that's what
woman
they say
said
on the
that.
surface.
A white woman said that to
They
my
don't believe
face. Oh no, a white woman said it to my face, and she's not Jewish.
that.
She's just a regular old country white woman.
Oh yeah.
My take on the whole situation is that they have a nation state.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. There you go.
So
They get it, but they had to give them. They had to get land. They had to establish a nation in order to get these reparations.
right.
So there's no
Yeah.
way that the so-called Jewish people that were in the Holocaust could have stayed on German land and got land there and said, "Oh, and by the way, Germany, America, whomever was part of this Holocaust, pay me."
And America
Absolutely no
wasn't
way.
part of it.
They were
Yeah.
not
That's the
part of
shitty
it.
part.
They
We
were
weren't
not
even
part
part
of it,
of
but
it.
they're still paying them
Now,
for
isn't
it.
that
And
something?
then they don't believe that they have to pay the slaves.
Isn't that something that politically the Jews, who represent a smaller percentage than we do,
Mhm.
are able to convince the United States of America, who had nothing to do with the
Mhm.
Holocaust, to give them money. Barack Obama and them gave them
For
Iron Dome.
Well,
for
it's not
it
that
wasn't even
simple.
10 years. It wasn't
It's
even
not that
10
simple.
years. The Holocaust didn't even last 10 years.
I mean, it's not that simple.
It's exactly
Mark,
that
I'm in
simple.
Germany right now, and really it's we're paying on the Germans' behalf. It's not that we're paying it. It's that we are kind of pimping Germany and then we're picking up Germany's tab. That's really what it is.
What is Germany giving the United States?
Do you know how many military bases we got over here?
They got military bases all over the world. What is the
And and
American
and and
government
Israel
getting?
used to be is basically kind of a de facto military base for us too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and also America is bullying Germany to buying their cheap energy, their
Well,
expensive energy products too.
that doesn't really
That hurts.
counter the point that I'm making.
What's that?
That they still are they've used political leverage to achieve certain things. And you got people here, us, who can't get a dime from these people.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
but we're not supposed to.
No matter
It's
what,
that kind of
they're gonna take care of them. No
yeah.
matter
Well,
what.
If
They're
Israel can get aid from the United States of America, Liberia should certainly be able to get aid. And I'm not
absolutely
talking
not.
about they're getting aid now, but not to the tune that Israel is.
Not billions of
yeah,
dollars, not
yeah.
billions of dollars per year.
And you mean and
But
you have to be the most immature political mind to not be able to take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. It is us as a people have this scattered we're not organized. We're not working together to form any type of block to institute any type of leverage or change on anything.
But that's what I was saying yesterday about the ADOS people. If you believe what you believe, that's fine. And if you can't look at me and say and know that we have some type of familial um connection, and let's say you want to stay, I want to stay here, you want to go to the continent of Africa, let's help each other get to where we need to be, because there's power in numbers. But no, they want to fight. They want to fight us. And they
Yo,
don't say anything. The
Salima,
way that they fight us, they don't fight that hard for, they don't fight white people that hard.
Salima.
Mhm.
I've always used that as an example.
They know who
When they
that.
talk about this unity thing, wouldn't it be smarter if a prostitute didn't have a pimp and she just cut him out the middleman and got the money herself? Wouldn't that be the smart thing to do?
Mhm.
But you know why she doesn't do it? Because she's a prostitute. If she had the sense to do that, she wouldn't be on the stroll in the first place. So we ain't never going to work with these people. It's never going to happen. There's never going to be any solidarity. So, but the best thing that we can do is what you suggested: go our separate ways. That's
well,
it.
that I made a comment early in the stream, and then somebody else in the chat had asked me to expound on it when I said that when I wrote a comment saying that the United States really, Mark, you had said earlier that we are living in the nation. How can we not understand nationhood?
Mhm.
And I would argue that the United States really isn't a nation. I mean, we're a nation of immigrants. Most people don't have a shared identity, which is you can see firsthand right now in our current election cycle. Like the nation is split in 1,500 different ways. Nobody likes each other. Really, the United States is really a resource colony, no different than a freaking African colony. We're still a resource colony to Europe when you think about it. Like we're giving all our money to fucking Ukraine for NATO. We're giving more money over to Israel. Like you said, everybody else can get some shit outside of the United States, but the United States people. Now, why is that? If we're really a nation, then why
I
aren't we
don't.
looking out for our own people? And that's really kind of how Trump got elected the first time. What did he say? America first, right? You got these white people that are feeling the same way. They're like, why the fuck don't we have shit? And everybody, you can pick up your passport and go everywhere else in the world, and as an American, you get respect. But when you come back to the United States, you ain't shit.
Well,
Well,
listen,
I think that that's more of an issue of what type of nation rather than it not being a nation, because this is definitely a nation. despite all the different nationalities here, the government is stable for the most part.
But who
You ain't
benefits from
really
the
gonna have no coups running up. Like I know that they try to use that January 60th, but get the fuck out of here. The nation was not in danger of being taken over by these clowns.
right?
So it's
Yeah,
stable. People put their money here. Other
right.
countries put their money in this nation. So there's a stability, despite all the differences and the political differences and the polarization, whatever. It has an economy, the world's biggest economy. Every country wants to do business with the United States because they have the biggest market in the world. We buy shit.
So what I would say in that vein is, yes, you are right. Is what type of nation, and from the cultural aspect of nationhood, the person who is protected as an American the most in the United States
Right.
is the non-person entity, which is the corporation.
Mhm.
Like I was having this
Yeah.
conversation with another partner of mine. It's like, well, how do you know we got so much racism and stuff? People don't like each other. It's so much personal shit, personal person to person angst in the United States. I said, man, the only way to get ahead in the United States is to incorporate and put all your finances behind a fucking entity. So nobody can attack that entity, but they can attack you as a person.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Burundi asked a question. I was hoping somebody could pull it back up. He was talking to Salima.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just
Said, okay, could you ask Sister Salima to explain why diasporans US could get money without a nation state link, but that the money would not be for reparations? If I misconstructed her comment, please clarify.
did she say that? I don't think she said that.
I don't think she said that. I think she said you need a nation state to get any kind of reparation. You need a nation.
Right.
You need a government. You need a body of land that's going to be recognized. That's what she was saying.
It seems like such a no-brainer to me that even if you are into reparations, why would you not be for embracing Liberia? It just doesn't make any sense.
That's
Because
because unfortunately,
that's your best bet at getting it.
well, unfortunately, there's been a lot of negative rewritten history about Liberia. Or it was a slave colony, or it was we went over and conquered the country. I'm trying to figure out what we went over there with. We had no army. We had the repatriates didn't even have any fucking money to get medical supplies, or at least large quality of them that they actually needed. So that's a dead horse right there. It's just Liberia post the coup of William Tober, who, in my opinion, was Liberia's last real president, if anything. Liberia has been getting a lot of negative historical beatdown. A lot of it is engineered by the CIA after the war. After the after the overthrow of William Tober, there was an anti-Liberia, campaign for its historical significance. According to both Carl and Jabari, and even C. Patrick Burroughs, Liberia, after the coup of William Tolbert, the CIA pretty much rewrote their history and basically was saying it was just basically another plot to keep African Americans away from it, to keep them from going back to it, to keep them from pulling together with it. It's a tragedy. So whatever people know about Liberia, or whatever they think they know, they get from a CIA funded, controlled historical website known as Wikipedia.
What about the people who know what time it is and know the truth?
Well, unfortunately, those people are marginalized, or they're being censored, or they don't have a large enough microphone. So people like Jabari, whenever he is online, when he's not busy doing the great work that he's doing, he's combating it. We know Carl does what she does. There's some other people out here that do what they do, but they don't have a big enough microphone. If you notice, all the crazies have the big microphone. The crazy people have the microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I would
So
say another point of that is a little bit simpler, Mark. When it comes to reparations, those people don't want to share, man. If they can't, if they're going to be for reparations and for Liberia, and as Sister Salima said, you have to be an actual nation to get reparations. That means the reparations would go to the state of Liberia, not just Black ADOS people.
Right.
And
yeah, and for them,
people
it's a
don't want to
handout.
share.
It's a handout. Yeah, it's a handout for them. And I'm gonna tell you, and by the looks of these Negroes in these comment sections and how they live their life, you can tell what they spend money on. If they ever got a reparations check, the only thing they're gonna do is some of them will go out and get their weave done. Niggas can
Yeah,
go
it'll
out
be
and
a
buy all
Dave
kinds of
Chappelle
shoes
show.
they can't. Yeah, yeah, niggas gonna go out and buy
Well,
all these shoes they couldn't afford, clothes they couldn't afford, cars they couldn't afford. That's all it's
yeah.
gonna go to. It's never gonna it's not gonna do nothing productive with it.
Hey
So
guys, how's everybody doing? It's good to hear all y'all strong voices. What up though?
it's the
Peace,
president.
What up,
Presidente.
though?
What's happening, y'all? I got when I hear y'all talking about it though, it's like the reparations. That's it, baby. The reparations game is like it's a really good idea, and when people, you already have one, baby, and when people look, all my kids bumping into me and everything,
Yeah.
and when people hear about it, it's such a good idea. But what people don't get, the biggest thing about it is something that like I heard Big Brother Holla saying is that we gotta be organized for this shit. No matter who's gonna get it, everything that we need, there needs to be some level of organization. And one thing that we keep on missing, y'all, we running around here going against each other so much that we forget that we do have an opposition. But the sick part about our opposition is that they sit and laugh at us because they say, look at these little children. We don't even have to do anything. We have their land, we have their homeland. But here in America, these idiots think that this is their land. Look at these idiots. Listen, seriously, they CIA agents don't even bother us anymore, y'all. When was the last time an African American been assassinated for trying to liberate their people? Like in real time, though. Like they don't even care about it anymore. They think we're a joke, y'all. Like seriously, our opposition think that we're a joke. They have completely strangled us. Like seriously, the shit that we talking about, like, is so it's just frustrating to me, y'all. Seriously, it's really frustrating to me that we hear. I know we're doing good things, but I'm talking about as a people. Look where we at. We in the age, man. We could touch a damn button, and I could be talking to somebody in Japan in their language, and we sitting up here talking about what we need to do, where we need to go, and it's right there for us. And we gonna keep on playing until it's too fucking late, and other people gonna be trying to get the damn place.
That's why we
And then we
can't
gonna
engage with these clowns, because
seriously.
engaging with these clowns is taking away energy that we could be utilizing in other places. These motherfuckers are going to stay where they are, and they're going to suffer. Let me add that, because there's some shit going on the financial market that nobody's paying any attention to. You don't hear it on the news. You don't hear anyway how all of these corporations in a lot of countries are divesting from the USD. Nobody's talking about it. And then one day, your 401k ain't going to be there. And then everybody's going to start panicking. Oh, shit, what we going to do? Because you put all your eggs in that USD basket.
Yeah, and I mean, well, they're talking about it. They just don't know what they're talking about. People are bitching about the housing markets, but all of that inflation that they're complaining about is really, a large part of it is foreign investment. We've been talking about the Chinese owning a lot of land and shit, and now they're talking about all of these corporations that are owning all of the houses. Like, I was watching something the other day about Atlanta, that it's like some 19,000 single family homes are owned by like 3 corporations or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
No,
hey,
no.
you're just gonna
This
get
is
priced out.
this isn't. But this is another thing about America that people don't get. So much. I can't remember the percentage, but I was just listening to something, and it was explaining it. But it's a huge percentage of American land that's owned by foreigners. Like
Yeah.
business and corporation land, y'all. Like land is owned by foreigners. Like America ain't even America anymore, and we talking
Yeah.
about this is ours. It's really retarded. Like when it comes down to it, it's so retarded, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of toll in middle America. If you start talking about Ohio, like the Midwest, Ohio, Indiana, a lot of toll roads and shit are fucking foreign owned toll roads,
That's why what we're going to do at
farmland.
one point, I don't know what live stream is going to be, but at one point it's going to be me, Jabari, and Carl, and we're going to do a satellite. We're going to show Liberia via satellite and go through the country. Just go through the country so we can show people exactly what we're talking about. Like it's ripe for development.
And I think, and that's what's really needed. Because I was talking to a brother. He's an elder. He's an elder, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, but this and this." And I told him a couple of facts, because I'm not the Liberian historian that some of my brothers and sisters are at all. I told this brother a couple of facts because he had seen a post about the Liberian Leadership Academy, and I told him a couple things about it. And he was like, "Well, hell, he's one of the brothers who really into Egypt, Egyptology and Kemet and all this other stuff." But I was explaining to him Liberia in the few terms that I can, and he was like, "Well, brother, that makes sense." And I was like, "Charles, I know it makes sense." And I was explaining to him how, like, when I first came to it, we was like debating about where should it be and all this other stuff. Then we started talking about Liberia, and then blah 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 blah. And he was like, "Well, brother, that makes sense." So if people really hear it, because people don't know, like, I can't even explain to them because I don't even know it. That I'm not that well versed at it. But if people really understood, I want to do on my page like a series, like literally called like Why Liberia, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's necessary, because people don't understand that it is fucking ours, that it's already ours and it's there. And we sit up here talking about, well, where we gonna go? What we gonna do is so. I want to hurt people, y'all. Like, seriously, it's like maddening to me. It like makes my blood just goes insane. I can't help it.
I
Anyway,
look
I'm
at that
muted.
land and all I see is opportunity. I see so many things. And that's just me and my ideas. I know everybody has ideas and thoughts about how they can improve the land.
But Holla, that takes work, man. You got too many Americans that are like, we already built this land. I ain't doing no more work.
Well, then there you go. See, my thing is, I have no problem with that. Just take your ass whooping like a man. Just take your ass whooping like a man. Stop complaining. Stop
Right.
bitching. Stop moaning.
It's clear that everybody and most people don't want to. I talk to the people who are on here talking about white people. I talk to the people who break down all the news about how black people are so oppressed and everything. It's like, okay, we the ones who need to be doing this work. I talk to the RBG groups. I talk to the gang members. I talk to the Pan-African groups. I talk to all them who say that we supposed to be working together and say, well, why we ain't working together? Check this out. It ain't, in my opinion, it ain't got to be the BAIO. We could all get together and say, well, let's create an LLC, niggas. Let's create a whole new name, motherfuckers. like straight up, drop all your excuses. I don't care about your more. I don't care about who you identify with. I don't care who you married to. If you black and you want to get going, let's get going. Why are we sitting up here looking around like we ain't got nothing to do?
Well,
it's really retarded.
The name has already been done. It's Liberia. That's the name.
How about that?
Like, if you want to come there as a Moor, come. You want to go there as a Hebrew Israelite? Fine. Are you willing to do the work to improve the land, to improve the infrastructure? When I found out that Unreal Engine, this blew my mind. Unreal Engine, a free program, can literally make a virtual Liberia. I just don't know how to use the shit. But it's capable of creating. We can basically go and make a virtual representation of every county in Liberia. And make it, and if we want to put in like roads and highways throughout Liberia, we can do it on the program just so we can see how it's going to look. That's powerful. You know how much that used to cost before that? To get an architect and an engineer to design that, how much that would cost? And it's available to you for free if you know how to use the program. There's so many advantages that we have on a technological level. There's cities that's being built within 5 years. It doesn't take as long as it used to take because of technology. But nobody's talking about that. We're talking about the Anunnaki and blood sacrifice and Illuminati rituals. That's what we are interested in. That's the stuff that gets engagement. But when you're actually conducting a school in Liberia and producing people who know about ethics and citizenship, that doesn't require even $5 fucking from people. That's why I said sometimes you should. When I think about this shit, if not for y'all, I would have thrown this towel in a long fucking time ago. Because at least I know y'all care. I know that there's some people that actually fucking care about doing something. Did y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Anybody hear what I said?
That was kind of a
Yeah,
mic drop right there.
sometimes you
We
got
got a fellow
set
Liberian brother
aside.
out here. He said
What's
there's so
that?
much open land in Charlesville, Marshall, Painesville. Yeah, it's one of those things that like that our great sister Carl said. Just Liberia is one of the least densely populated areas in West Africa. It is, I think, the one of like top two, maybe the least densely populated countries in West Africa.
It is ripe for development. It's ripe for development. And when instead of us trying to develop it, we're sitting around talking about meaningless nonsense like Club Shay Shay. 61 million views.
Okay, so if we were to, in terms of West Africa, Liberia is the third least densely populated area in West Africa. And the only two countries that is less densely populated is Mali and Niger.
Yep. Both countries, ironically, are now waging a long needed revolution.
And you're talking about an area. Remember this. Remember. If we are to look at the size of Liberia and Mali and Niger, they are 10 times as large.
Oh yeah, they're huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
they're 10 times as large. So we're talking about a country only has about 3 times as much people per capita, but is 10 times smaller than the two countries I just mentioned that are just less densely populated than Liberia is, Niger and Mali. So that shows you just how empty Liberia is, how not densely populated it is. And to bring to the point, I always bring this back, and somebody was talking about it on Twitter a couple days ago. One of my great friends, they were saying, Black Americans going to Africa is cool, but it doesn't. One of the things that Pan-Africanists fail is you have to concentrate it. You can't just be telling Black folks just go to individual countries. You have to concentrate it, because I bring up the example. If you have 100,000 Black Americans African Americans that go to Africa, but they go to 30 African countries, that averages out to about 3,000 per country. That's not going to have the same influence as if you had 100,000 Black Americans in Riversess or in Rivergy or in Sino County, one of the counties in Liberia. It's much more concentrated. It's much more, there's more people in the area. So therefore, there's more connections. There's more resources. There's more you can put together.
Well, you don't even have to go all the way to the African continent for that, right? You can just look at Black people in America. We lost a lot of our political power just because we spread out across the United States.
Yeah. There's a strength in numbers and a strength of concentration. That's why I use the scientific phrase. Why are black holes so strong? Black holes are strong because they have a ridiculously large amount of mass concentrated in a small area.
How you doing, Barry, little bro? It's good to hear your voice, man. What you're talking about is a level of, once again, organization, because everybody knows this science. Everybody knows that when you work together, you're better, you're stronger together. Like children learn this stuff in songs and stuff, right? Everybody knows this. However, when you even suggest the idea, hey y'all, we should all move down to like Atlanta, or we should pick out a spot in like Carolina, or everybody goes crazy. It just doesn't make sense to, even if you say something like that to do in America, everybody will go crazy. When it comes down to us working together, it's like a disease, man. It's a crazy, sick disease that needs to be exterminated. And it's only going to be exterminated by a show of it, by a show of different people coming together doing something on one accord. That's the only way it's going to happen. If you literally show, because nowadays you got to show and prove. You can't tell me you just lifted 300 pounds. You got to record it in the video, show the weight. You know what I mean? So people have to see that people are doing this thing seriously, because it's a crazy sickness. I'm talking about no matter where we go in the same city, nationally, internationally, black people act like we just are sick of each other. It's mad. It's just sick.
Yeah, there's definitely a cultural, mental proponent of that too, not just the work. I mean, how is it? How is it that a clown ass motherfucker like Nature Boy can create a cult and get people to leave the country and go to Costa Rica and do some shit? But
it's really insane. It's really insane. It's really insane. I had just the other day, man, I had a sister. I woke up in the morning to a message from a sister in my city in Oregon saying, I wanna get I'm trying to get Umar Johnson to come here. I want you to help me and all this stuff. I then cussed her out, man. Like, do you listen to me? Like, do you know me? Like, why would you do this to me? Like, well, for real, like, what are you talking about? Seriously, what are you I ain't heard you not one time say, what's this thing with you and BIO? What's this thing that you got going on? You doing some stuff in Liberia with a school, and you gonna send me some stuff talking about you want me to help you try to get Dr. Umar Johnson to come to Portland, Oregon. Woman, you out your damn mind, man. Because we're sick. We're clout chasers. That's why we have to show and prove that the stuff we talking about is happening, and y'all need to be on board. But if it ain't super exciting and booty shake, it's like we just children, man. It's sad to say, but we just fall for the banana in the tailpipe way too quick, way too easy, and we're not paranoid enough, not collectively. We trust way too easy.
Can you all see what I'm doing?
Yep.
I'm looking at that. What are you at here? Yeah, this is Google Maps.
Yep.
Yeah, looking at Liberia. Got some beautiful coastlines. It's so many fucking ideas, man. So many opportunities, and it's like I just have to be around people who's thinking and giving out pertinent and practical information. And unfortunately, if I go and if I judge it by social media terms, I feel like throwing in the fucking towel. So I can't be around that. I got to be around people that's trying to do something.
I just want to also add that because of the fact that you don't have your own country or just sovereignty in general, you really can't control how you live your life. Because you're not in control of the legislature. As much as we get tired of Democrats and Republicans and what they're doing, you have people like Jim Clyburn say, hey, black people are not getting reparations. I really can't be mad at them for thinking that. Or Hakeem Jeffries saying, now the country now always basically supporting them. I can't be mad because we don't control the political system in America. And how, if you've seen it, even white Americans are getting frustrated with their government because they don't control it. If they are struggling to control their own government, what makes you think we have a shot? What makes you think this is our government? I need us to really look at everything we've gone through, everything that's currently going on, with people protesting about what's going on in Gaza and the government not listening. A whole TikTok ban and the government's not listening. At what point do you realize this is not viable? This is just not viable. And you have to outweigh the benefits and the costs. And the costs supersede the benefits. If you want to stay here, that's fine. We can't force you. We're not going to come to your doorstep and just snatch you out. But you have to take what comes with it. You got to take the Jim Clybers of the world. You got to take the Al Greens of the world and the Sheila Jackson Lees and the Maxine Waters and the Chantel Browns. I mean, you have to deal with that. I mean, and you can't get mad because this is what they're paid to do. Because I've always said this. They wouldn't be there if they weren't doing what they were doing. If they didn't have the mindset, they wouldn't be there. Look at Nina Turner. Nina Turner didn't have the mindset of corporate America. And guess what? She's not a senator like Chantel Brown.
Jabari, I believe that you said something and it struck a chord in me, right? I believe that a lot of us absolutely do understand our condition, and we absolutely do want to be in a position to where we could just always ignore it. It never affects us. We can put our kids in school and it could be a white school and they never go through any racism. You know what I'm saying? We could just live in any neighborhood and they never remind us that we're black. They never treat us weird. You understand? But it doesn't fucking happen. So what they do, they still put on a cloak though, bro. They put on this cloak like everything is okay. And it's almost like it's impossible to break it, man. And it's so sad, y'all. And when they hear somebody like me, when I say, listen, stop being a coward about it, it just burns them. It just makes them hate nationhood more. And those are the people who I actually want, though. I want them to be, it's the people who working in corporate America and who always got to bite their tongue. It's people who are working. They have these big enterprises, but they always have to shuck and jive, and they're scared because they think they'll lose everything. So they just keep on being, just taking it up the rear, taking it. How do we break through to them? And is that possible? I honestly don't. I think that they like are a rap, like for real. And y'all know the people I'm talking about, and
I say personally that
they
we
come
can
from
build.
Don Lamont to Pookie. Like,
Okay, you kind of
y'all
went
get
out
it.
on
I
it.
stopped.
Yeah, you borged out a little bit. Go.
You kind of went out a little bit,
right.
but I heard what you said. But my thing is, we have the ability to produce billionaires. I don't necessarily think that we got to be fucking with these people who made their billions here in America. We can produce billionaires in Liberia.
Well, I think it's important to do it.
Black people.
I don't know. It's just Sister Salima jumped off, but just how she said that slavery was enabled because they took us out of the lands and put us in a foreign land. Sometimes to break some of this mental stuff, it's got to be done outside of the United States. One of the reasons I say that, the
You have to
corporation or
get
the
out of the
non-person
crack house.
entity is the most protected is because even amongst black people, you got black people there. There's no shared identity and shared goals, you got people selling people out. Like, back home, I live in Atlanta back home, man. And Atlanta is a black run city, but you got black people selling black people out at the top, man. Atlanta is all the politicians in Atlanta are fucking crooks. The previous mayor was a crook. The mayor before her was a crook. I live in the new city of so-called South Fulton. Our mayor just got arrested for some bullshit. You got the DA now; she's under fire for some scammy shit. Like, if
I would say this about
there's no
Atlanta,
shared identity, even the black people at the top will end up selling you out.
Because again, it goes back to we don't control it. Even black folks who say we live in Atlanta and Atlanta's Black Mecca. Atlanta's not Black Mecca. Black people in Atlanta are some of the poorest people in any major city in America. Okay, and we don't even make half as much money as the white people in Atlanta. So we're conflating black bodies with black power. Just because you have a lot of black bodies in a place doesn't mean that is controlled by Black people. When I'm thinking it's controlled by Black people, I mean the economics is controlled by Black people. I mean all the major corporations, all the major infrastructure funding are controlled by Black people. That's just not in Atlanta. And so I think when we got to think about it, we got to think, we first have to discuss to our people, what does it mean to control something? What does it mean to control something? Because I think our people think of controlling as, oh, if I control an individual businesses or we just control a collective of small businesses, that means we control something. No, when you control something in its entirety.
Yeah, they don't. I think that they do get it, but there's an element of it that I think we can't ignore, and it's a fact, is that when Malcolm died, there were a lot of people that breathed a sigh of relief that were Black people. When Khalid died, there was a lot of people that breathed a sigh of relief. Whew, thank God that nigga's gone. When Marcus Garvey died, there's a lot of Black people who was like, woo, damn, yeah. They do not like people who push for Black power.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
And they're not worshipped and even talked about until they're dead. So the only people that I'm concerned about is the people that's trying to do something, who's actively or even passively trying to be involved in getting something done. Because at the end of the day, I don't look toward the masses for anything. They'll come along once we get shit straight. But until then, they're going to sit back and wait and see what you do. There's people that can have skills that they can bring into the organization right now, and they're not going to do it because they're going to wait and to see, well, what are they? Let me see what they do. They do. So it's just, that's the reality, man. We don't have a whole lot of people to work with, but my thing is, look at what we were able to accomplish with the little bit of people that we have. That's the positive. So the only thing you can do is be involved. If you, as a Black person, are complaining about all this shit and about how the collective is this and the white man and blah, 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 get involved. Even if on a passive level, get involved. You don't have to be in the meetings. You don't have to do this. Put down $5 a week. Get involved in the solution to the fucking problem. Because if Black people, a certain segment or enough of a groundswell of Black people don't want to be involved in the solution, then there doesn't deserve to be one. That's the reality. Stop bitching, stop moaning, and just admit that you are inferior to the white man. And accept your role as his bitch.
Upstairs, they chilling. I gave her some pizza.
It's real simple for me. I'm just tired of the culture of complaining. I'm tired of the culture of complaining. Especially when I know that there's practical solutions that we can be involved in right now. I'm sorry, Jabbar.
We went from the American government fearing that if they intervened in Liberia in the 1930s, that they would lose the Black vote, to us begging for our lives to matter and begging to be included. Really just is
and begging for butter biscuits. That's this nigga actually, that fucking, what's his name? African Strikes Back, whatever. I don't know what these
Pan-African.
He actually
Pan-Africanist got fat.
He actually said to me that we need to, if the white man is offering butter biscuits, he'll eat the butter biscuits. That's what he said. And the fact that these people have more of a microphone than we do infuriates me. Because it ain't even about them. They're clowns. It's nothing really to say. But what do you say about the people that like listening to clowns? What about them? What about the people that give attention to Umar Johnson and attention to Tariq Nasheed and Polite and the rest of these assholes? What do you say about them?
Polite is polite.
Do they just get a free pass? They get a get out of jail free card?
Nah, it's just comfort food, man. It's just
Well,
it's
you know what?
it's just
If we want to
it's just
engage in comfort food, then be comfortable, nigga.
they're just
Don't take
that's
comfort food
heroin
and then
addicts.
you know what I'm saying? Don't take comfort food and then think you're a revolutionary. No, be comfortable and take the ass whooping like a man or a woman. Just acknowledge the white man like you do Roman Reigns. Acknowledge him. And stop fighting with him. Stop being a rebellious teenager in his house. Take your allowance and get your ass at home by
Take
10
your
p.m.
allowance.
Get your ass in the house by 10 p.m. I'm going to whoop your ass.
Pretty much.
Anyway. What did he say? If the so-called African American became or adhered to being a Mazungo bitch, would the personality of African American become bitchy? It already is. We just making it official. Bending the knee is a symbol. Like it's a symbol of what the actual reality is. It's not like you weren't always a bitch. You just acknowledging that you won. So we can have it out in the open so there's no mystery anymore. I mean, that's what they want, right? If you don't want to empower yourself and your people, then what else do you want than to be the bitch of somebody else? You want to cry, you want to complain. It's like these chicks that, oh, I want there to be equality, but I want to live a soft life and have everybody pay for everything and just take care of me. You can't have it both ways. So what do we want? I've been asking that question for years. What do we actually want as a people? Because from what I can see, we want bullshit and we want to be comfortable here in America. And we just don't want the white man to act. We want him to act right. That's what we want. We don't want him to be so abusive toward us. We don't want him to be racist toward us. We don't want him to discriminate against us. If he could just only act right, we'd be happy here. Am I wrong?
No.
Because collectively, that's what I see. I don't see. It's like somebody made the post that people support, like they'll go to the movies and they'll support the resistance and then come outside of the movie theater and back the empire. But to be entertained, oh yeah, they want to see Neo fight against the system. Then yeah, let's break it down, burn it down until they come outside the theater and they are right there with the Sith Lord. They love Palpatine outside of Star Wars. In Star Wars, they're against him. He's a bad guy. They totally are against Skynet when they were in the movies. They want John Connor to defeat Skynet. Once they get outside the theater, they hate John Connor's guts. So the question is, if you as a black person are here in America and you want a change, you want a future for your people, what are you, that person, actively doing to make that happen? And if you ain't doing nothing, then I guess we are where we're supposed to be. Why is everybody complaining? What's the bitching and the moaning about? Anyway, I'm done. That's my rant for the day. I'm ready to go. Jabbar, are you there?
Yes, I am. So let's finish read this. He said I used to buy RLJ shares to support Robert Johnson's ventures in Liberia. To be in Liberia in touch with him. Hopefully we can eventually. And then he says the security situation in Liberia is good. There's a greater chance of something bad happening to you in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Chicago, Philadelphia, or Baltimore than Liberia, and that's just facts. That's just facts. And then you said wanting to be under the white man. I've started using that to articulate our condition, a position of literal metaphor. And yeah, that's just the situation. If we want freedom, then we're going to have to truly ask that we want it. And if we want it, we got to make moves. I know we want it, and we're making moves. And once we make moves, people are going to follow. The movement's going to catch steam.
My conscience is clear. That's all I got to say. My conscience is clear. If anybody asks me I have to leave here, and they ask me, what did you do to assure that Black people have a future? I can answer that.
Mm-hmm.
So my conscience is clear. Each person that's Black got to ask themselves the same goddamn question who's living in this country. What did you do when the solution was presented to you? What did you do with it? Did you support it? Or did you push back against it?
Yeah.
Anyway, peace, Ethel. Peace, everybody.
Yeah,
Peace.
It's been a good.
I think that's pretty much it. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you think down below again. We have our lounge and book club tonight, so make sure that you tune into that. If you are a BL member, you will be able to join us at the lounge. Also, join the BL Liberia Legacy Foundation, support the Liberia Leadership Academy class.
Link is in the chat room.
Link. So please, your donations will be very well appreciated. The more donations that we get, the more people that we can educate and teach, and the more things we can do. So once again, thank you to everybody. Thank you, Baruti. Thank you to Omar De Maja. Loved your insight. Peace to Racine Bilal. Of course, Michael McGarry, Antoine Toussaint. Thank you guys for the comments that you put down. We really appreciate engaging with you guys and engaging with the audience. And with that, fam, y'all have a great rest of the day. Have a great start to your week.
Yep, and make sure you click on the link. Talk to you guys later. I see you tonight.
All right, everybody. Peace.
Peace.